Right, so we're going to get into the case of Adam Walsh. Or he was about this age when he went missing. Evening, everyone coming in. If you're just coming in, can you repost the live, please? More people need to come in and see me mentally fall apart. Oh, you. Anyone who missed the first 5 minutes of the live while I was having an anxiety attack. But you know, we're here now. I was like, is it always this awkward? Why is everyone looking at me? But we're here. Okay, so I think Adam Walsh's story is like every parent's worst nightmare. Truly every parent's worst nightmare. And it happened in July of 1981. And he was abducted from a Sears shop in the mall. Now, his case would also go on to be the catalyst for so much law change in America off the back of his parents fighting really hard to be heard. So a horrific family tragedy in the summer of 1981 would forever change how Americans looked at child safety. In July of 1981, a 6-year-old boy went missing while shopping with his mother in a Florida mall. And eventually he'd be found murdered, devastating the whole community. Thank you, Beth. Thank you, Lisa. The murder of little Adam Walsh would forever change the way the Americans view crime. And it would set in motion one man's mission to crusade on to become an advocate for those who can no longer speak for themselves. And I always think of just how proud Polly would be of her father and how proud Adam would be of John Walsh. And Reeve, his mum as well. His mum, Reeve, she's a very quiet person. She doesn't speak out in the media a lot. Thank you, Bev. And she kind of supports everything that John does, but she's not always like an outward person in the media. She's felt some responsibility for a long time because, thank you guys, because she let him go and play in the mall. And that's a guilt that you never get over. And it really isn't her fault. Like, it's not her fault at all. So for the Walsh family, July 27, 1981 was just another sunny day in Hollywood, Florida. Adam Walsh and his mother Reeve spent time shopping at the Sears store in the Hollywood Mall. Reeve had only a couple of stops to make, but she wanted to make the trip in and out really fast. She just wanted to get it done so they'd get on with the rest of the day. As Reeve and Adam walked through the Sears store, Adam made a beeline straight for the video games near the toy department. Now, back in these days, in the UK as well, remember we used to have like... we used to have Virgin Megascores, HMV and all of that. And you'd go in and put on headphones and listen to music. And likewise, you'd go in and play games. And in Sears, they had like a whole row of like behind the glass computers that you could play. So Adam asked his mum if he could go and watch the big boys play these fighting games. They were playing Street Fighter and stuff, Price and stuff like that. Yeah. He asked if he could go in and play these computer games. And watch the big boys, and his mum was like, no, we're going to go and get this stuff from the medicine aisle and stuff. And he's like, please mum, please let me watch them. And she's like, and she sees these older kids playing, and she sees there's a gaggle of younger boys around watching them. You know, there's 8 or 9 boys watching. So she's like, okay, Adam, for a few minutes you can. You know, and he's 6 and she's going to be in the same store. This is 1981. It's a completely different time. I have no judgment for her. She was literally going to be 2 minutes. So she says to Adam, I'm going to go to the medicine aisle and then I'm going to go to the lamp aisle because we need a new lamp. And so she says, I'm back in 2 minutes, don't move. Just like any other mother would. Now, Reeve said she felt confident and she kind of felt quite proud that Adam was getting to the stage where they could have these kind of exchanges of like, I'm going to be back, don't move, all of those things. Because we know that as children grow up, we have to kind of change the rules. I get it, Lubel, like literally back in 1985, 1986, like I was literally when I was 4, it had been like 88. I used to go to people's houses when I was 4, not even tell my mum. I'd be like out the front, skateboarding and everything else. It was a different time. And we've learnt to be more safe because of all these stories. That's why I keep telling these stories, because if we can save even one more child, it will be amazing, right? So Reeve felt confident at ease. She goes to get the medicine, then she goes and shops looking for these lamps. And a few minutes later, and she recalls it being about 5 minutes. Thank you, Martine. Thank you, Pippin. She recalls it being like 5 minutes. She goes back to the toy aisle. Thank you, Elaine. Thank you, Beth. Thank you, everyone. She goes back to the toy aisle where the computers are, and Adam is not there. Thank you, everyone. The minutes drag on excruciatingly, and she is searching. She's searching the toy aisle. She's going back to the lamp aisle. She's going outside of the store. She's panicking now. Thank you, everyone, so much. The minutes dragged on excruciatingly, and soon her panic turns into dread. And soon people can hear her crying out, Adam, 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 where are you? She's getting more and more worked up. She feels like no one's helping her, and she's like, she talks about it so many times. I watched her on CNN. I was watching some interviews for this research, and she's like, it just sounds like running water in my head, and I just need to see him. I need to see Adam, and I can't find him anywhere. Her search becomes desperate, and with the help of store employees finally coming over to help, and even eventually other customers, they search frantically in this store. The store's security have been now notified, and announcements are going out across the broadcasting kind of thing at the shop. Adam, come to the front desk. Adam Walsh, come to the front desk. Your mum is looking for you. It's all going on. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Lynn. Despite their best efforts, Adam was nowhere to be seen. Police are then called, and an emergency response team arrives. Thank you, Martine. It was then officially declared that Adam was a missing person, and in a short amount of time, the search turns into a city-wide manhunt. Now, they get, John Walsh is at work, and he gets a call from his wife. She can barely explain to what's going on. She passes her phone over to security, who explains to him, like, Adam's gone missing. No one's seen him for about an hour at this point. And he just panics and rushes to the store. Thank you, everyone. And he admits that when he first gets there, he's saying to Reeve, like, where is he? Why did you let him out of your sight? Where's he gone? Because he's just panicking. And later on, he'll say he feels guilty for this, like it wasn't her fault. But at that time, he's just like, where has he gone? The search team pass out flyers with Adam's photograph. Thank you, everyone, for the gift so much. And the television station airs pleas for information and search for the little boys, with volunteer groups helping to search. But as time went on, it became increasingly clear that he may not be coming home. Now, the case of Adam Walsh is a little bit of like an enigma, because there was no signs. There was no, thank you, everyone. Thank you, Bev. Thank you, B. Thank you, Dion. Thank you, everyone. There is no witnesses. No one saw him go in. No one saw nothing. Thank you, everyone. We don't know who took him, who was there, who was around. It's just kind of, there's nothing to go on, nothing. Thank you, Bev. And we know we don't have CCTV in Sears back then. There is absolutely nothing. There was endless speculation and theorising about what may have happened to Adam. Had someone enticed him to go off with them? Or was he the target of something extremely wicked? Now, John Walsh and his wife are quite sure, this is John Walsh with Adam, he is quite sure that his son would not just walk off from his mum. He kind of speculates at first, like maybe it was like one of the young lads playing computer, maybe it was somebody that offered him something, but he said we did tell him about stranger danger, but we know it was 6-year-olds, like at that point, if you're watching a computer game, you could be like, come with me and you can have a go on the computer. Anything could have happened at that point. Now, nearly 2 weeks after Adam Walsh vanished on August the 10th, 1981, a find would be made that was so gruesome that it would change the life of not only Adam Walsh's family, but America. In Vero Beach in Florida, over 120 miles south of where Adam went missing, 2 fishermen discovered partial remains of a boy in a drainage canal. He had been decapitated. Local authorities were called and a proper investigation got underway. The state of the remains made identification difficult. It was, let me just open this a minute because I wanted to check something. So let me just, let's get them. Sorry, I'm just smiling at Taylor making weird noise upstairs. Okay, so I want to just do this in the least brutal way, because I'm going to just read to you off the autopsy report. I'm not going to go into detail. So his severed head was found, okay? His severed head was found. His body has never been recovered. So we know that it was just his head that was recovered, and he was severely decomposed. He was identified in the end by just his dental impressions, but the rest of him has never been found. And I was just trying to think of as a mum, it just kills me to say that. Like, honestly, it just kills me to say those words. Now, due to the fact that they didn't have the rest of his body, thank you, Erica, thank you everyone for the gifts, it was really hard to tell how he had died, and they thought it was likely that a sexual perpetrator had hidden his body because of any kind of adult fluids, etc., which is just awful, and also any kind of injury he had to his body. So these two fishermen who were kind of dragging their nets off the bottom of this canal just came up with a child's head. And I sometimes, thank you, Kirsty, when you cover these cases, I think about those also, like these two men who probably were fathers, whose life would be changed forever that day. I just don't even know what that would be like. Law enforcement acted quickly when Adam was reported missing, but still, in the absence of his whole remains, their hands were tied behind their back, and they didn't have anything at this point. They had his head, they didn't have a body, they didn't have a crime scene, they didn't have any witnesses. The Hollywood Police Department deployed a command centre to the Sears store and organised all of these kind of searches. They were still looking for his body, right? And this really kind of changed things, because people were like, but you found Adam Walsh, and they're like, not in its entirety, we haven't found him. And they still needed his body to try and find out kind of what had happened. So it was almost for the parents like they were searching now for parts of their son, which I just can't think of anything more brutal. He was 6. The Hollywood Police Department set up these search sites soon, and this still turned up nothing. And what they found was the number of searches dropped down massively, because you're now asking people to go and search for a child's beheaded body. Like, and some parents who were quite happy to search before and now are like, I can't see that. I can't come here and look for a little baby that way. And you can't blame those people who have children to raise who don't think they'll ever be able to get over it. Like, this is what we're talking. It's just, I can't even think about it. A leading suspect in the case was Otis Toole, a drifter with an extensive criminal record that included arson and murder. Toole was initially linked to the case by a string of confessions he made, saying that he did kill Adam Walsh. Now, he had confessed so many times, and it's turned out that it was him, but it took 27 years. 2008 they finally convicted him, because he kept changing his confession. So police were like, well, if he'd done it, why did he keep changing the facts? And he constantly did it. He changed it so... Thank you for the follow, Katie. He changed it so many times, it made it seem like he was lying. Now, this is him here. I'm not going to keep him up for long because he makes me absolutely sick. I'd rather add him up because I don't like to talk about this absolute freak. So I'll show you him here now, and then I'm taking him off the screen. Okay, I just would rather think about the victim. I can't keep him up when we talk about the brutality of what he did. So Toole, who confessed in graphic detail, thank you, Kirsty. He confessed in graphic detail. He said he'd taken Adam from the Sears store, driven him to a remote location, and killed him. However, Toole had a history of erratic behaviour and inconsistent statements. For years, Toole's role in the case was a source of controversy. While his initial confession gave many a sense of closure, authorities still needed to corroborate it. You can't just make a confession and then just give no kind of proof that it is you. You can't just say, well, I did, and just expect people to not still be looking for the person who's done it. Although Toole remained the prime suspect, other persons of interest were explored. One of the people that have been mainly looked into for Adam's death was Jeffrey Dahmer. He had a history of kidnapping and murdering children, and a lot of people said this fit his MO. There was no firm evidence linking Dahmer to the case, and he denied any involvement before he died in prison in 1994. Numerous other suspects emerged for the following years, in individuals such as sex offenders, but there was never any... Oh, stop inviting me for battles. How many people keep... Is there some kind of competition on? I've got battle after battle invite. New leads came in and each was thoroughly investigated. Now, unfortunately, Toole died in prison of liver failure in 1996, never clearly confirming or denying his role in the murder. Nearly a quarter of a century later, in December of 2008, the Hollywood police department officially closed the case and said that Toole was the one who was responsible, for killing Adam. This declaration was some closure for John and Reeve Walsh, but it came with its own set of doubts and controversies. Adam Walsh's slaying crushed his dad John, but moving forward, the bereaved father made sure that his son did not die in vain. John and Reeve established Adam Walsh Child Resource Centre in 1984. And John Walsh has gone on to be famous in the true crime world. It was created to assist other families for missing children in their search of resources, support and advocacy. It also worked closely with law enforcement to coordinate searches and broadcast information on missing children through school programmes and community education programmes for parents and kids on how to be safe and what to do in case of kidnapping, etc. Eventually it emerged as a beacon and hope for families in turmoil. With Congress support, the Walsh family tireless effort to pass legislation have led to huge strides for child protection in America. Their efforts changed how missing children cases were handled and how law enforcement deals with families. One of the early legislative victories was the Missing Children's Act of 1982. It requires the FBI to establish a national database of missing children so law enforcement agencies have all the information all the time. The Adam Walsh Child Protection and Safety Act of 2006 was enacted in honour of Adam. Oh, thank you, Martin. This is the legislation created which ensures that sexual predators are put onto a database and monitored by police after they're released from prison. This little boy died, but he has saved so many lives. He has protected so many children from adult sexual abuse and kidnapping, all those things. Same as Polly Klaas. Both of these children have left a legacy far beyond anything that at their young age they would ever understand or be able to comprehend the massiveness of. In 1988, John Walsh started and hosted the TV programme America's Most Wanted, which kicked off a wave of person in stranger danger activism. The groundbreaking series on Fox allows viewers to call in with tips to help authorities track down fugitives. Viewers who have information could call the special tip hotline. And it's kind of a bit like Crime Watch in our country, but massive. Oh no, Dion, I'm so sorry. I didn't know your son had been. I'm so sorry, Dion. America's Most Wanted was a smash hit. Over 25 years of the programme, it assisted in capturing more than 1,200 fugitives and reunited a great number of children with their parents. The tragic story of Adam Walsh spurred efforts that have shaped child protection and law enforcement policy to this day. Thanks to the work of John Walsh, legislation for missing children has become so much stronger in most states. John Walsh is still leading a one-man battle against crime and child exploitation. And I noticed that Adam's brother, which is John Walsh's son, is now taking over and doing a lot of child protection work and chasing, like almost like a hunter. He's bringing paedophiles in. And I think it's so sad that it takes such a big tragedy in a family to impact change. And these parents are stronger than I could ever be to have lost a child and then go on to do such amazing things in your child's names. I just can't. Oh, Dion, I'm going to remember to come and have a look after the live. Groups like the National Centre for Missing Exploited Children have a central role to play in helping keep families and kids safe. The memory of Adam Walsh continues to influence the policies and programmes established in the case. His legacy of saving countless children. We can't even put a number on it, but him and his family and the rules that and the laws they have changed, like the paedophile register, and allowing people to know where their children live, has done, thank you, Ali, has done so much work. I just wish behind each of these laws wasn't somebody who had died to get it impacted. You know what I mean? It's just it's tragic, and I hate the fact that even to this day, all these years later, 40 odd years later, they still haven't found the rest of Adam's remains. They only have his head still.